Today, I'm not sure who it is. So when I seen Tequilla and
All righty. Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Bird 91. We're actually talking to you guys about Tequilla and Phil. And the title of the video is does Tequilla need to be posted? Is this an insecurity or a fair request? Is it a fair request to ask your partner to want to be posted? My first and foremost answer is it's an absolutely fair request. It doesn't have to be granted though, but it's a fair request. If you want that from your partner, you are absolutely entitled to ask to be posted. You are not you're not entitled though for that person to say yes. They have a choice and they have a right to their own personal boundaries within the relationship as well. But Tequilla specifically spoke about this in regards to Phil. And that means we have a little bit more context because we watched the video, and I'll play a bit more of the clip so you actually can see it. But she made some comments that were very interesting about him, necessarily talking about posting. And I think in that regard, that's where I say Tequilla is slightly insecure and immature. And when I say immature, in the terms of being able to understand there are different perspectives to your perspective, that comes with maturity of perception and experience, knowledge and wisdom of the world that you live in. And I felt like she missed that part when she decided to start labeling Phil being emotionally immature for the fact that he had a different perspective to her, which wasn't an inconsiderate perspective. So we're going to discuss that as well on this video. So if you're new to the channel, do me a massive favor. If you love the kind of breakdowns that we do, we love the intelligent breakdowns that we do on this channel, then like it, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is. All right, let's talk a little bit about this as well, right? Because I think what's key is a conversation that they had. Let's have a little bit.
Reserved about it in my dating life.
Cause I want someone to post me too every now and then. You ain't got to post it every day.
That's
right.
All right, cool. So the conversation shifts on to Phil. First off, starts by saying, "Hey, look, I've got to a place where I'm just a bit more private. Nobody knows who I'm really dating." Now, the key word here, and I would give a bit of grace to Tequilla too, is this dating that you're doing, do your family and friends know? Because if they know, that's completely different. When I say dating again, that again is subjective, because some people class dating as going on a date, onto a dinner. Some people class dating as being exclusive and actually in a relationship. Depends how you mean by dating, right? But let's just take it as a relationship. If your friends and family do not know that you're in a relationship, yeah, I'm going to be questioning you. You're not private at that point. You're secretive. Want to hear me very clearly? If you are in a relationship and you want to do private even to your family and friends, bar in mind that you don't have any valid excuse apart from the fact that these guys are not your friends and they're not really your family because they're trying to fight you, they're trying to hurt you, they're trying to dismiss you, whatever. Why don't they know? That's secretive and not private. Private means, okay, the whole world doesn't need to know. I don't need to showcase my photo albums to the whole entire world, right? Back in the day, you have a photo album. The photo album is in your house, not on your Facebook, but it is now. That's private. And that's versus being secretive. The photo album isn't being hidden. The photo album is brought out when you have access to the very people who hold those treasured memories. And so with Tequilla and Phil's situation, the conversation shifts to this part. Phil starts talking about how, yes, for him personally, he wants to be more private with his relationships, and most people don't know who he's dating. I'm gonna take it as being private. Tequilla then says, obviously, she wants to be posted. It doesn't have to be every day, but every now and again. And then he replies by saying, great, well, I agree with that. Every now and then, he agrees with that every now and again. He's just not the person that's going to be doing it every single time. So then how do we get to a point where Tequilla then later on in her confessional, which I'm guessing was shot after, then later on then be able to say, well, I think he's emotionally immature for the fact that, he doesn't want to post somebody. Really? Now, again, they could edit this and they can cut it and they can screw it. And then she might not have been talking about the actual private versus, versus secret kind of aspect. She may have been responding to something else that they asked her to kind of get her to prompt this particular response. I don't know if that's the editing or not, but let's just take it as it is. Then she gives that response about him being emotionally immature. And I'm looking at like, how can that be? Actually, you're showing that you're emotionally immature when you don't realize that you can hold multiple perspectives. And maybe it's not emotionally mature, It's more mentally immature in the sense of being able to understand there are different ideologies and different thought patterns that are different to yours. And you can't see that. You only see your way, and then you begin to label somebody. And I asked this question, of course, Tequilla wants to be wanted, desired, loved. What woman what woman, what man doesn't want to be wanted, desired, and loved, right? But the reason why I said it feels like an insecurity is because she's really indignant about the fact that he must post her. And even though he said to her he agrees with her point of view, she still came out later on to kind of almost attack him. And that tells me that, she has a very different way of thinking about things, but it's almost warped in the way that she sees the world. Like, it's my way or the highway. And in that way, that's always going to cause issues in relationships, right? And so for me personally, I think that Tequilla might be dealing with some things of the past. I think she may be dealing with past boyfriends in her mind or whatever, and she's now imputing that onto the Phil situation. Let's watch a bit more and have that bit more conversation. You'll see what I'm saying.
That's a
Be a little every now
1,000%.
and then. To me, it's kind of like you can maintain your privacy, but you can also show off your family. You gonna show off everything else. You talk.
But the thing is, he agreed with her. So where was she going about saying, you can show off everything else? He already agreed with you. If you didn't actually listen, and maybe because you weren't paying attention, because you were so ready to hear private, immediately you thought to yourself, he's going to be secretive and he wants to hide me away from the world. That you got triggered and emotionally you responded rather than actually being objective. A lot of times people get emotional. What I mean by that is emotional arousal. It's when your emotions are spiked due to there being a stimuli, an experience that you're going through, or an event that you're happening right there and then. It releases a immediate wave of emotions that are very strong, and in that moment you can stop being objective and start living on the feeling and the emotions in that regard, and then you stop hearing what you're supposed to be hearing. So she should have heard the fact they said already, I agree with you, and I said I will also post her up, but not every single day. It's just going to be, when I need to, kind of thing, right? Let's even more.
Talk about work on social media. You probably post your friends. So I do think there's a disconnect with emotional maturity when it comes to Philip.
What do y'all think Tommy's
Emotional maturity, really? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I honestly think to myself that Tequilla, just based on some of the past interactions she's had with people, and even the past interactions she had with Phil, she was judgmental of Phil the first time round, and then literally wanted to be back in his good graces, then judged him again on this instance. Do you want to be back in his good graces again? Are you understanding that you are very judgmental of him? First, it was your facial expression and the way you went, and that was the first day when you were at the mixer. Now we're doing it again when we're being judgmental, and we're not really seeing the situation. Like, the first time around was about him talking about sex. You asked him a question, he answered it. Now we're on this part where you're talking about relationships, you're talking about what you would do, and instantly you've got your judgment again once more again. And you've got a judgmental spirit. And people who judge people harshly oftentimes have been judged very harshly themselves, and they're just literally enacting what they've actually suffered from. But you need to break the cycle. Right? You need to break the cycle. Okay? Break the cycle. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification uploads. We appreciate you. Stay locked, stay loaded. We'll see you again very soon. Much love.